What a day. What up, nerds? It is your boy, Tard Kent, alias Man of Steel Book. I can't believe it's already been a month since Criterion dropped that absolute banger of a July release slate on us, but it has been. We're all getting older very, very fast. And we're going to die soon. Now, Criterion has the formidable task of impressing us with their August release slate. I just imagine myself, I'm like at the end of July, I'm limp and exhausted, sweat glistening off my brow while I smoke a cigarette, surrounded by freshly violated copies of Risky Business and Les Samurai on 4K. What can Criterion possibly offer me as a follow up to rouse me from my post nut stupor? Well, guys, this is their answer. This is what they're bringing. First up, we got two films by Kira Muratova. This is a Ukrainian filmmaker during the Soviet period. So her films were subject to Soviet censors. Also, the two films that are a part of this set, Brief Encounters and The Long Farewell, being released on Blu-ray and DVD. Those are both Soviet era films by her. She did continue to produce films through the 80s and 90s as well. It's all good in the hood, but these are some of her earlier works that were produced, I think, 67 and 71, something like that, respectively. Don't quote me on that. So Criterion naturally claims that these films were suppressed. I don't know shit about these movies, but it sounds like the first one, Brief Encounters, is about an uptight broad who finds out that her free-spirited husband has been boning the younger maid. Also, it sounds like the second one is about a teenager son who he doesn't like being around and witnessing his emotionally impulsive mother, Reed. Criterion's trying to tell us she's a hoe, bang a whole line of dudes. So,
did you fuck my
mom? Two movies that are, they overall seem like they're more renowned for risk taking, taking big swings at that time in terms of formalistics. They seem more experimental in terms of the actual construction of the film. We'll see what that looks like, but rather than being driven by these unique narratives, because I mean, what husband is not going to bang the maid when he's married to an uptight broad? I'm just saying, and the maid is like 22. I'm sorry, I'm on his side. Muratova died in 2018. She was aged 83, so she had a nice long career. But these are two of her earlier works, and Criterion is kind of selling them to us as being formalistically experimental, maybe even a little bit, groundbreaking, or even, envelope pushing for the time. I mean, chances are we watch this thing and we're expecting it to be salacious by our current 2024 standards, but nothing could have prepared them for, the type of shit we're dealing with. So we'll see how crazy and wild these movies get in August, or maybe we won't. I don't know. Who's excited about these? Let me know in the comments below. We're also getting Not a Pretty Picture released to Blu-ray and DVD. There's not going to be a 4K of this one. This is either a 1975 or a 1976 film by Martha Coolidge. She's actually related to the president. The Coolidge, what was his fucking Calvin Coolidge? I just pulled that from my brain. I'm not even reading anything. I mean, I am reading something, but it has nothing to do with Calvin Coolidge. I pulled that one from my brain. That was a pull. The text on Criterion's website says 1975, but the cover art of the Blu-ray says 1976. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Life is a farce, and truth does not exist except in fever dreams and hallucinations. So, it is what it is. Now, unlike Bruce Wayne's mom, this Martha Coolidge, is still kicking. Peace be upon her. She's still with us. So she was able to do the whole director approval thing for this release. We should expect this release to have her thumbs up and seal of approval for it. If you're anything like me, then you're not at all familiar with this film, Not a Pretty Picture. You're not familiar with this film, but maybe you have heard of some of Martha Coolidge's other movies. Let me familiarize you. Surely you've heard of the 1983 classic Valley Girl with Nicolas Cage. If not, unsubscribe. Not just from my channel, but from modern life itself. Go check into a monastery and become a monk and take a vow of never feeling pleasure below the waist again. like you're Gordon Liu in Shaolin Master Killer. Go shave your head, you motherfucker, if you've never heard of Valley Girl, okay? Get right, all right? You have an opportunity now. If you haven't heard of Valley Girl, okay, you have an opportunity. It's almost the weekend. Fix it, okay? Fix it. Of course, I know you've heard of the 1985 Val Kilmer classic film, Real Genius. Otherwise, you would have committed seppuku with a Frisbee by now, because the only people who haven't heard of the film Real Genius are pieces of shit who have brought dishonor upon their families and must therefore take their lives. So think about that, okay, before you come around here saying, I haven't heard of Real Genius. Really? Because that's fucked up. What are you still doing? Not having redeemed your family's honor. You must not really care about familiar honor. You know, those two, of course, they were directed by Martha Coolidge, along with some other stuff that also you might have heard of, like Rambling Rose, which actually just got a release by Imprint. It has Robert Duvall in it, Laura Dern. Laura Dern plays another hoe. She's a hoe in that movie. Hoe for show. Three Wishes with Patrick Swayze. Patrick the fuck Swayze. That's what's going on in Three Wishes. That was directed by Martha Coolidge. Out to Sea with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, the last film they did together before both retiring to the grave. That was their last movie together, apparently. And Martha Coolidge was there to helm the thing. I haven't seen Out to Sea, but Martha Coolidge also directed The Prince and Me, starring my once and future queen, Julia Stiles. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, this film, the Not a Pretty Picture film being released by Criterion in August. This film sounds like it's probably not nearly as fun as those others I mentioned. I mean, this is definitely no Prince and Me. What can I say? As evidenced by the fact that Criterion is calling Not a Pretty Picture a high-stakes experiment in meta-cinema that broke new ground with its uncompromising examination of date rape, while simultaneously ensuring that this YouTube video here will be seen by fewer than 36 people because I just uttered the word rape. Fuck. So don't come around to Not a Pretty Picture looking for good, lighthearted fun, because it doesn't sound like that's what we're going to find here. Valley Girl, it is not. We're also getting a release of Real Life on 4K and Blu-ray. This is a 1979 film by Albert Brooks. This is what I'm looking forward to personally. This one stars Brooks, as well as being directed by him. It stars Charles Grodin, R.I.P. brother. I like Albert Brooks. I do like Albert Brooks a lot as an actor and as a director, although I can't claim to see having seen all of his films, including this one. This is one that I have not yet seen, so it's on my list because it sounds very interesting. I don't know what he does. He like fucks the mom and kills the dog, runs over the dog, or if he like runs over the dog and fucks the mom, or maybe he runs over the mom and fucks the dog. I don't know, but whatever he does in trying to document this family, he just screws things up. He's not really documenting anything really, because what he's doing is he's intervening. You can't document something that you're intervening on, right? It's not observational if it's interventional, and it's not interventional if it's observational, right? Like if you're making an observation, you should stand back and try to observe this thing as it exists in nature. If you're intervening, then, you know, that's where you prescribe the prescription and the intervention and the placebo and all that other shit. Don't get me started. But this film sounds like it's going to be very interesting, very, you know, maybe even like forward looking to the world that we live in today. That's, you know, entertainment is very dominated by reality TV. That's you know, it's trying to make an attempt to capture reality. That's why they call it reality TV. But also, like, it's not real. It's scripted. They're off on some island. That kind of shit. So this one sounds interesting, with Albert Brooks playing a narcissistic filmmaker attempting to capture an American family's day-to-day life, but fucking it up in the process. And by that, I mean except fucking it all up, not butt fucking it all up, because I shouldn't mention butt fucking in a video where I already said the R word, not retarded the other R word. YouTube loves me. This is going to be fine. There goes my promising career in the YouTube physical media boutique Blu-ray space. Let me know in the comments below if I should just go back to working at Walmart and living in my mom's basement, just like the next film, Mother, 4K and Blu-ray release, not to be confused with the Darren Aronofsky film starring Jennifer Lawrence. This is another Albert Brooks directed and starring film. This one's from 1996. They're not even trying to space these Albert Brooks releases out. They've opened the Albert Brooks floodgates on us. In this movie, Brooks plays a sci-fi novelist who goes home to live with his mama due to rising inflation and his inability to afford a down payment on a home. It's a twist of genius from a man whose real name is Albert Einstein, like the famous physicist. Did you guys know that, by the way? I found out just yesterday that Albert Brooks is not his real name. He was born Albert Einstein in 1947. So after, Albert Einstein, the physicist, was already like well famous, they were like, hell, our family name is Einstein, just like the physicist guy. So let's name our son Albert, just like the physicist guy. And maybe I'm sure his parents were wicked disappointed that he went into comedy and filmmaking at first. He's like making no money. And we named you after a famous physicist. We were hoping you'd go fucking work at a university with a PhD and figure out the stars and the moon and the black holes and shit. And here you are fucking, making some dumbass movie. And then I'm sure he started making money and they were like, never mind. Movies are cool. You're famous now. Movies are cool. So I just learned today that he was originally named, like, I don't know that they named him specifically after Albert Einstein, but he was like named after Albert Einstein. And sometimes when I learn shit like that, I feel like I am the last person to discover this trivial fact. And like everybody else in the world already knew this. Like my 4-year-old daughter is going to be like, no shit, Dad. Everybody know Albert Brooks was originally named Albert Einstein, you dumbass. But I don't know. Maybe there's other people out there like me who are like, whoa, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Also coming to Criterion in August. This is the final one. This is the double dip. This is The Last Emperor on 4K. They're bringing us a 4K of The Last Emperor, which feels very appropriate in my opinion. But again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm sure I'll say it many more times over the next several years. We should expect at least one double dip each month. This month in August, we're getting one, but you should expect at least one, maybe two, because sometimes we're going to get two double dips. These double dips are going to be a high def format. It's going to be something that they're re-releasing from their DVD catalog onto Blu-ray and 4K, or something that they've already released on DVD and Blu-ray and they're releasing onto 4K, which is technically a triple dip in my book. Like, I'm no expert. I didn't go to college for this. Just kidding. I did. I have a film theory degree. So kiss my ass, Criterion. I know a fucking triple dip when I see one. I wrote the motherfucking book on the motherfucking triple dip. I know what I'm talking about because I paid way too much money to a publicly funded institution of all places, University of Georgia. These fuckers take public funds and they still raked me over the coals so that I could pay for a film theory degree. But I got it, so I know the triple dip. I can smell the bullshit. Anyway, this is a triple dip. This is I regret buying a Blu-ray only release from Criterion release of the month of August. This release, to their credit, let me just advocate for Criterion here for a moment. To their credit, they are adding new special features to this release. So if you have the previous releases of this film and you really like it, you want the special features, this might be a worthy upgrade because you are going to get new special features, which includes the 218-minute TV version of The Last Emperor. This is the version that is affectionately referred to by Bernardo Bertolucci, the director, himself as the long as fuck version. The long as fuck version is almost 10 whole minutes longer than The Irishman, for Christ's sake. This is a fucking long film. That's a special feature. Even the written materials on the upcoming 4K, they include more than the previous Blu-ray release. So I think there's some additional, even like written essay type of materials to include. Truly, you are a sucker if you bought this film on Blu-ray back in 2014. This release actually is, because of that, it's actually a good study on the evolution of supplemental materials. If you look at the DVD release in 2008, this is when they released this movie on DVD. Criterion put the DVD out in 2008. Then they put the Blu-ray out in 2014. And then they've got this upcoming 4K in August of 2024. You can see that the DVD had like one commentary, the film trailer, and that was it. And that might have been all they could fit on a DVD because, like I said, the movie's 18 fucking hours long. It's like 3 fucking weeks. You could watch The Return of the King 10 times in the amount of time it takes you to watch The Last Emperor. At any rate, nut at the beginning, and then your refractory period will be done. You'll be able to nut again at the end, is what I'm saying, even if you're an old man like me. But it shows you kind of how like special features went from a commentary and a trailer in 2008, 2006, 2007. there were a lot less special features that were like standard on DVD releases. But as we have expanded and moved into new formats, they have to add more special features, which I love. But on the other hand, you also have to think this has got to be one of these like upsell techniques. Like if you bought the Blu-ray in 2014, granted, it has been 10 years since the Blu-ray came out. 10 years is a good long time. That's a long time for Criterion to exert their discipline and not triple dip on us. They gave us 10 years to enjoy the Blu-ray. But if you've got the Blu-ray, you've already got a high-def version. Criterion really wants you to buy the 4K version to get the higher def version, but they also understand that for people who bought the Blu-ray 10 years ago, they might not be super inclined to upgrade to a 4K because that's like another $40. So obviously that's revenue for Criterion. So if you're Criterion, you think, well, not only are we going to give you a new 4K resolution disc, which probably includes a new 4K transfer, but I don't know at this moment. But let's also throw in a few more special features to sweeten the pot. I think they've actually included also a couple of short documentaries in addition to the extra written materials and the 218 fucking minute long version of this movie. I mean, I got almost I got almost 200 movies back here that I've never seen before. Like I got time to watch a 218-minute version of this fucking movie. I'll be dead before it ends, right? So, even though the new 4K is loaded with a whole bunch of extra shit, we got to be real. Let's be real with ourselves. Me and you, fine viewer, we ain't never gonna watch that shit. It's been a long time since I've seen The Last Emperor. It's been at least 20 years since I've seen this film. I watched this film in the early 2000s and I have not revisited it since then. I've never owned it. So I think Criterion finally got me on the 4K. I held out, right? I did good, right? From 2008 until 2024. I don't even know how many years that is, like 20 years. No, it's not. It's like 15. But even still, I made it, guys. Boom, I did it. I held out. I won. Criterion lost. You didn't sell me on the shit until the 4K came out. So that's it. That's August. I, for one, am not blown away by this release slate when comparing it to the July release slate with Risky Business and Le Samurai and Farewell My Concubine. I think this is good. I think Criterion, they almost never have a bad release slate, but they can't all be winners either, can they? In the words of the great Billy Bob Thornton.
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
This just is what it is. I'm still looking forward to August. Criterion's going to give my wallet a little bit of a break. I'll pick that 4K up of The Last Emperor at some point and the Albert Brooks film, Real Life. Yeah, I'm going to pick those two up at least. Let me know what you're going to pick up or tell me to go fuck myself. I'm cool with that too. Whatever. Or not. That's also cool. If you made it this far, I love you. And go buy some fucking Criterions and not need a sandwich. Peace, nerds. Don't you chew on that cable. Goddamn cat.
Is he retarded?